Now, something that we've talked a lot about here on the DMV Zone, issues with opioids in our schools. Just last week in Arlington, Wakefield High School had a student die after an overdose on campus. And now this week, the community is working to educate itself to understand what can be done to prevent this. Fox 5 photographer Jesse Burkett Hall was at last night's meeting. He spoke to parents. This is what they said.
Combating this issue requires a community-wide response that comprises home, school, and public efforts. As a community, we must stay vigilant and well-informed and work together. The school board acknowledges that our community is being faced with challenges, many challenges, including the need to address the increased use of opioids that is affecting our youth.
We will begin to talk more about an overview of substance prevention in APS and intervention and the next steps that we're putting in place.
With the illicitly manufactured fentanyl, this is what's being created in clandestine labs. So what's being mixed into this illicitly manufactured fentanyl is other substances, different analogs of fentanyl. What we're seeing with these counterfeit pills is that they are being put into a pill press, and you can create up to 15,000 pills in an hour.
You may notice that your student might be losing passion for activities and interest in activities that they would normally feel very excited about. So an example might be a sport or a club or playing an instrument.
Well, I know board members have quite a few questions.
They mentioned that there was a law or a statute that you can report something and not get in trouble.
Next slide.
So when you're preparing to do your administration, go ahead and put your face covering on that individual. Check for responsiveness. Okay. Look, listen, and feel cautiously.
It was a great presentation that you did. So how are we going to get through to the kids? You know, can we bring people in who have tried lived experiences with this?
All right, and obviously there's just so much that goes into everything that's happening. Our Joe DeVoe with Arlington now, giving us a little bit of a deeper insight into what's happening in Arlington. This is not unique to Arlington County. We know that much, but these are conversations that are happening. It almost seems like on a nightly basis across the region. What's the latest from Arlington Public County Schools?
So there seems to be a recognition that more needs to be done and it needs to be done now, and there can't be any more delays. I had spoken with advocates who have been talking about this issue for a while now, and they feel as though now it's finally getting attention that it definitely deserves. Last night's meeting was really specific in a lot of ways. It showed people how kids are getting drugs and what that drug might look like and how they're taking it and what the symptoms are, and it was the kind of specific information that I think a lot of parents might not have had before, and this is just another example of how Arlington Public Schools, you know, whenever I talk to them, they provide a wealth of information about the education they say is going on and the opportunities that exist, and sometimes it just feels like that isn't necessarily trickling down to parents, to people that need that information. Mm-hmm. And so this was kind of an example of a real-time attempt to close that gap of the information that exists but isn't getting to the right people at the right time, if that makes sense.
Are you getting any information from your kids' schools and the...
No.
And so do you feel that there's a lack of information and communication from schools with parents in general?
I think that, yes, there is a lack, but I think the lack is because I think the school system is just catching up to this as well. Nobody expected a crisis to come right on the back of this opioid crisis that fentanyl was thought being this prominent and having these discussions every day. So I think that teachers, in the conversations I have with them, they're catching up to this information as well. So maybe, you know, us talking about it here makes everybody get active and do something, because I'm not getting anything from any of the teachers or schools for my kids.
Joe, it just seems like, unfortunately, it takes something as dire as a student dying from one of these overdoses and it being linked to an on-campus overdose for people to really set into action. Is that the sense you're getting too?
I think that is something that a lot of advocates would definitely say is a read of the situation. This is sometimes how, unfortunately, these situations go, is that there has to be a little bit of embarrassment into action, I think, for that's what they feel is going on here. for sure.
Sometimes reaction is not the same as proaction, and it's definitely the other way around. But
we need to get
hopefully,
proactive.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I will say that, the substance abuse counselors that are in the schools, there's 6 of them, and they seem to have really big caseloads, and they seem to be doing a lot of work. And so part of the discussion going forward, I think, will be, do the schools need to pay for more substance abuse counselors to be in the schools, and do they need to be connecting with more students and providing more small group?
More education, more hands-on. Joe DeVoe with Arlington Now. We appreciate you.